As a game developer who worked as game engine and tools developer on Helldivers 2...
Huh? Soggy Cereal worked on Helldivers 2? Yeah, dude, dude. I don't like this. I don't agree with it. I'm not going to support it. That's the end of it. Why are you actively trying to, like, stop people supporting it? What is the big negative if it gets 1 million signatures? It might not even end up in legislation anyway, and even if it does, that would involve industry, people, stakeholders coming to the table.
Don't get too aroused, Twitch.
Whoa!
The ferrets turn you on so much.
Whoa! Bit of projection, methinks. What's he going to do with that ferret after stream ends? That ferret could well be exploring a dark tunnel before you know it. There's clips that have been linked to me that I went over that I think are quite interesting from a few years ago. Okay? But mainly we're just milking the situation. We're milking the situation, much like PirateSoftware would if we worked in a kennel. What? Okay, let's try and get a bit more sensible about this, okay? We're getting a bit silly. The Soggy Cereal guy, which was the source of my falling out, apparently, with Harmful Opinions. Let's see if we can... Let's see if we can reinvigorate the relationship. So, I hear that apparently there's some crazy law drops about Soggy Cereal in this. So, let's have a little listen to what he's got to say for himself.
As a game developer who worked as game engine and tools developer on Helldivers 2, I've always had a special interest in YouTube's gaming and
Wait, what?
As a game developer who worked as game engine and tools developer on Helldivers 2...
Huh? Soggy Cereal worked on Helldivers 2? Wait, what? When did that happen? Bro. He just said it like it's nothing. That's pretty impressive, no? Well, I don't know if he still works as a game developer or whether YouTube is his main gig. But, yeah. X to doubt. I mean, that would be a fucking crazy thing to lie about, dude. All it would take is someone that works at the studio to go, that's not true. I don't even know who this guy is. Pirate, why you walking, bro? He's literally in one of the cinematics. Oh, is he? Yeah, I worked on one of the biggest multiplayer hits of the early 2020s. No big deal.
I've always had a special interest in YouTube's gaming and game developer community. While learning C++ programming, I watched Cherno. Danny was my go-to for game design. And for math and physics, I just smashed my head into a wall. However, one I always avoided was PirateSoftware. No, not the practice. I did that when I was a kid. I'm talking about the content creator PirateSoftware.
They can eat my entire ass.
Also nicknamed Thor. Some of you may know Thor as Guy, who explained very simple basic concept with serious voice and big words in MS Paint, making him seem like very smart person.
And that, viewer, is how you kidnap children.
Maybe you know him as Guy who allegedly cheats in puzzle game streams to seem more of an intellectual.
Bro, is he gonna be back over here now?
For cheating puzzle game playthroughs now. It's blowing up again.
You've possibly seen him blame?
If we have that kind of a mistake again, I'm disbanding the party. I'm gonna go run with other people. Because you guys cannot do that again.
Oh!
Rage.
God damn it, guys.
And whine.
Just lost.
Bro, he's literally going over all the classics. This is like a summary of all the shit that I spoke about this guy. Well, the thing is that this is what makes the difference, doesn't it? Between like Upper Echelon's video and Soggy Cereal, because Soggy Cereal clearly knows all of the different parts of this story and clearly understands, you know, why it is that he's hated, and it's all of these things linked together that create this narrative about this guy. Whereas obviously Upper Echelon just took a look at a few Reddit things from the look of it and was like, oh, well, that'll do. Yeah, maybe or maybe not with this DMCA, I don't know. But anyway, not important.
4 hours of crafting materials. Yeah, that kind of sucks. Of course, I'm going to be a little bit upset about that.
Okay, also, guys, I mean, I kind of understood this anyway, okay? And obviously, I was being a bit silly mentioning it. But you do understand that in order to explain that PirateSoftware is likely some sort of bestiality fetishist talking about knots, you need to describe an uncomfortable level of detail about a disgusting topic. And that makes it, unfortunately, very difficult to get it across in a way that doesn't make you sound like a deranged weirdo. So, I'll take the hit, guys. I'll take the hit on it. But obviously, I can understand other creators don't want to fucking get into, oh yeah, he's into zombie dog cock. Because that's just a bit like, ugh, you know? Moist Critical is literally the only guy that I can think of that could actually do it in a comedic way. And that's saying a lot, because I'm not a massive Moist Critical guy. But he's got just the right tone, I think, to explain it in a way where it can really get the message across. And to a big audience, too.
Viewers for being terrible at a game after someone accidentally attacked an NPC called the Ocular, which then killed their entire team.
God damn it, guys. So one of you hold the Ocular. Why? Now half the raid is dead. Oh, I swear to God, I'm gonna go back in the video and find out who pulled that damn thing, kick him out of the raid. That is insane shit. Yeah. You have to be better than that. And we just lost all of those materials because you're not paying attention. This is basic shit. That is insane shit.
Yeah, how dare you attack the Ocular, you stupid, dumb, moronic.
Thor pulled it in a clip. Link.
Oh wait, what's that? He was the guy who wrongly attacked the Ocular? Making it his fault everyone died?
Here we go.
Gee, I wonder how he's gonna apologize for being so toxic to his supportive viewer base for no reason whatsoever.
I'm not at fault there. I'm correct there for doing that. 100%. That is not on me. No.
Okay, actually getting everyone killed and wasting 4 hours of time was a good thing. Now don't you dare question it or you'll get banned.
This guy sounds like he takes criticism well. You sound like you want to talk to me about it in the ban request.
But how do I
you just
PirateSoftware should fund Soggy's takedown of him if he wants nicer coverage. Upper Echelon did it for free, but Soggy has his standards.
Thank you for the super chat. Thank you, Raz. Dude, it's so wild to be wrong, just factually wrong. Not an opinion difference. Factually wrong, and then to try and cope about it. And then people call you out for that, and then you're like, yeah, get banned.
Sure.
Very cringe.
I'm just going to get rid of you. Swear to God, I'm going to go back in the video and find out who pulled that damn thing, kick him out of the raid. That is insane shit. You have to be better than that.
On Twitch, he's known as the kindest, most supportive, and knowledgeable game dev programmer. Even though he has threatened to sue an indie developer on false grounds and his codebase would have made me—
Oh, what's that? A statement that perfectly summarizes what happened in the private part situation.
Even though he has threatened to sue an indie developer on false grounds and his codebase would have made—
Threatened to sue an indie developer on false grounds. Wow. Almost like you can find out about this quite straightforwardly. I don't need to fucking do the whole, oh, it could be or couldn't be, like fucking Upper Echelon did. Incredible.
Made me fail my first year at university for my game development bachelor's. And if you don't know him from any of that, then you might know him as a guy who worked at Blizzard.
I worked at Blizzard, so when I first started at Blizzard, I worked at Blizzard for 7 years.
I know, he rarely mentions it. I'm just kidding, he mentions it all the time.
Blizzard. But for Blizzard, this is 100% your worst take ever? No, it's not.
Were people grilling you for the Upper Echelon coverage? No, not at all. I don't think we put a segment out about it. I don't think. Maybe that's coming up. I don't know. DK is basically just like fucking getting any segment about PirateSoftware up at the moment because of how crazy numbers it's doing. But I'm not sure. Maybe that'll go up. But no, I mean, I didn't see any real negative comments about it. I mean, I would hope that if Upper Echelon gets wind of mine or more likely other bigger YouTubers' criticisms of him, I would have thought that he would be willing to, you know, I would have thought that he'd be willing to take it on the chin and recognise that he's wrong. Oh, new goal. Okay. Oh, no. No! We're one off. What a disaster. What a disaster. Don't worry. I'll do another one, guys. Let's go. Let's fucking go, baby.
You know what I did before this? I worked at Blizzard Entertainment.
Now, having worked on Helldivers 2 at Arrowhead Game Studios, I understand taking pride in your work. Hell, I opened this video sharing that pride, and every few months I'll rewatch my 5 seconds of delivering democracy in their April Fool's video.
Wait, what? He was in the video? Oh, look, there he is. He's literally in the studio's video. So yeah. I think it was one guy doing it, but I don't know what, like, it would be insane to lie about being a developer on a game. You'd have to be like some sort of compulsive liar to do that.
Hell, I opened this video sharing that pride, and every few months I'll rewatch my 5 seconds of delivering democracy in their April Fool's video. And now I'm a YouTuber and my entire life is an April Fool's video. Especially when my contract is making me do an ad read at the start of my video. Wait, no. With today's video sponsor Fume. Fume is a favorite air device designed to help you get rid of bad habits and replace them with better ones. Fume uses plant-based scores with only natural ingredients to give you flavors like peach blush, maple pepper, or my favorite, crisp mint. There is no stanky smoke, no vapor, no addictive nicotine, just naturally flavored.
Finally, I've got a chance. I've been meaning to mention this for a little while now. But because dude, some of the... There's so many fucking obnoxious whiners when it comes to sponsorships. Obviously, I'm not going to be particularly amenable to it because I literally don't care. I just took a sponsorship from, what was it? What was the game? What was the game? Oh, Marvel Strike Force. Don't care. As long as I'm getting my bag. But it got so bad on YouTube Drama with all of the whining about sponsorships that a couple of months ago, or whenever it was, they had to like put a post up saying, can you please stop posting about people taking sponsorships? We're sick of it. So they just gave like an update from the mods and they're here. Sponsorships and the use of AI for thumbnails or video content can absolutely be the impetus for drama with an audience or between creators, but they are not in and of themselves grounds for drama. Think of the similar to our Chuds being Chuds rules. If the creator is an environment where people do not care that they use AI or take better help with sponsorships, then it isn't really drama since there aren't any stakes. But yeah. JCS suddenly putting out an AI narrated video with Massive Black is drama. Tyler Olivieri using AI in his thumbnails is not. So even the fucking busybodies, even the Karen busybodies of the YouTube drama user base got so fucking sick of all the posts complaining about, this YouTuber just took a sponsorship, guys. Crazy drama. Crazy drama. Anyway, we're meaning to mention that for ages, but never really had a chance to. But as we're doing a sponsor thing, just thought I'd throw it in there.
Air that gives you something to reach out for without the chemicals. I personally hadn't heard of Fume before they reached out to me, but I'm glad they did because ever since I was a kid, I've had the bad habit of nail biting whenever I'm really stressed out. And with everything going on in the world right now, that's basically all the time. So after a few weeks of having used it, my nails have finally stopped looking like chip paint because with its satisfying fidgety design, I have something else to fixate on. Now I just gotta buy a nail clipper. With over 500,000 customers, thousands of success stories and their continuous investments in third-party studies to ensure the safety of their products, I take my Fume everywhere I go. And right now, if you order the Journey Pack using my code Soggy Cereal, you'll get a free Fume topper. So if you've been thinking about changing your habits, this is the perfect first step. Go to tryfume.com/soggycereal or scan the QR code on screen to grab yours today. As you'll see with Thor, there's a pattern where the line between pride and hubris start threading real thin, especially when he's caught making a mistake, which I wouldn't have such a problem with if he just owned up to them and if he wasn't so condescending whenever someone else makes one. But he doesn't.
I'm not at fault there. That is not on me.
And he is.
Eat my entire ass. The level of stupid that I just had to receive was like sitting on Twitter for 12 hours. A really stupid ass move. That's an incredibly stupid ass move.
Nonetheless, I never quite felt like making a video on him because everything bad he did always seemed trivially obnoxious in itself, but after what he has done to an initiative I deeply care for...
yeah, I mean, I can understand that, right? I can understand, particularly on a surface level, thinking, oh, this is just trivial gaming shit. But I think that the pattern of the World of Warcraft stuff and then the other RPG stuff that happened, you know, I feel like that tells a story about PirateSoftware. And then obviously, he mentioned it before, but obviously the DMCA stuff wasn't trivial. You know, PirateSoftware, despite his stated belief that he cares about small indie devs and wants to help them and support them and prop them up, you know, DMCA'd, illegitimately DMCA'd someone when he had no grounds to do so, you know? But anyway...
All those toxic instances formed a pattern not just plaguing Thor, but one reminding me of everything I hated about
That fume device is perfect for a bisexual man with an oral fixation. Like Chud.
The game development industry, which I wish to unravel. So let's start talking about
stop killing games.
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 Hey! Classics.
For the past decade or so, game publishers have taken it upon themselves to take the entire right of ownership of their games from the buyer's hands and keep it in their own hands with the use of licenses, making it so that if one day they now decide to pack up shop and go to the Bahamas, well, they can take away access from everyone who has ever bought their games. You can see this in the license agreements from scummy, greedy companies like Blizzard, saying Blizzard reserves the right to terminate this agreement at any time for any reason or for no reason with or without notice to you. EA states,
Yo, Chud, what are you saying about Pirate... Okay, dude. That was nothing to do with PirateSoftware. That was to do with Jake Weddle. Jake Weddle's father is a convicted pedophile, and he's trying to get his case tossed on a technicality. He's clearly been reading up on the law in prison, and so he sent this like lengthy letter to whatever the authorities to deal with that in America are, the state are, in order to try and get it tossed on some sort. He didn't get like a certain interview or something. So I don't think he's even contesting that he took the action that he took and engaged in pedophilic behavior. I think it's just like, oh, you didn't do the correct interview here, so I should have this tossed.
That if they decide to shut down a game or service, well, they'll tell you at least 30 days in advance, after which you can go fuck yourself, because after online service termination, they can't guarantee their games will continue to function. With Ubisoft, this license confirms no title or ownership in the product. Ubisoft may terminate this agreement at any time for any reason. And Ubisoft abused their practice in 2024 when they took their servers offline for racing game The Crew, a game with a mere 12 million registered players who now, after buying it, all lost access because you could not play without a server connection, causing immense community backlash. So inspired by the train wreck caused by The Crew, or guess I should say car wreck, a passionate creator, Ross Scott, who runs a YouTube channel, Accursed Farms, started the Stop Killing Games initiative, with its current goal being to introduce European legislation that prevents publishers from leaving their games.
People keep saying the UK one is apparently nearly done. I was saying earlier that I thought they'd already responded to something, so I don't. Well, I mean, there's no harm in signing it, obviously, but where is it? Oh, look at that! There's only 500 signatures left. Damn. Well, 400, 300 and something. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, dude, I mean, if you listen, let's put the skepticism to one side. If you're interested in supporting it and you're in the UK, you might as well give it a sign, okay? Why not? Why not, guys? Why not? In between stripping money away from pensioners and sick disabled people, maybe the Labour government might do something about it. Who knows?
Games in an unplayable state at the end of their life cycle. All it asks is to just have publishers leave games in a reasonably functional and playable state before shutting them down. And to even get this off the ground and in front of the eyes of European lawmakers, it needs at least 1 million signatures. Now, I care deeply for this. I signed the petition not only because I grew up my entire life playing video games, needing that escapism during a not so fun upbringing, but even if I didn't, I still believe in basic consumer rights. A publisher shouldn't have the ultimate decision to permanently take it out of existence just because it's not as profitable to the shareholders anymore. And I wish to believe most people share that ideology, including PirateSoftware.
It's incredibly important to me that we keep making games and that the next generation has the tools to do so that our medium doesn't die out. And it never will. And that's the whole intention of all of this.
Of course he does. He's such a good guy. Wait, he said what 5 seconds later?
This is shit. It's shit. Oh shit, now this is actually really dumb. That's awful, dude. Eat my entire ass. The level of stupid that I just had to receive was like sitting on Twitter for 12 hours. This shit sucks. That's a really stupid ass move. That's an incredibly stupid ass move. I think this is ass. This is complete garbage. All of this can eat shit then.
But Why? Thor not just criticizes, but bashes and demonizes stop killing games.
As you can imagine...
Yeah, that's the thing I never... Looking back at PirateSoftware's comments, obviously you can disagree and present issues, particularly as a developer. Well, I use that term loosely when it comes to PirateSoftware, because obviously it looks like this fucking... this Heartbound's never going to come out. And he's released that one other game. What is it? Champion Breakfast or whatever it's called. But why so vicious? Why so harsh? Well, I don't get why he felt the need to go so fucking hard, because like it's fine to be vitriolic and stuff, whatever. I don't, you know, because someone else was being liked and upheld for it, so he disliked it before even learning about it. Well, yeah, that's why. Obviously, that makes sense to me. But you know, like if we were trying to interpret his actions in the best possible way, it all stems from the mental raping he got from a nepotistic upbringing. Probably. But the thing is, even if you disagree with what Ross is doing, the vitriol was so unneeded for me, because it's like, well, and again, if you want to be a dickhead, be a dickhead. But like, what? How can you even get that fucking mad at this guy? I literally don't get it. I don't get. Like, I get very annoyed with certain people and pissed off. Perhaps it, like Ricky Berwick's probably a good example, where I'm like, God, this guy's like a little wretched beast, right? And the way he acts is very irritating. So maybe that's unreasonable. But with Ross, it's like, well, what is he even doing? That's that fucking crazy. It feels like you have to try really hard to genuinely be fucking upset with this guy. And not be able to just go, well, here's some issues with your initiative. Here's some problems that I've got.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Here's where I disagree. Here's a problem that I foresee, you know?
I think it was Jason's Blizzard experience talking, thinking in the perspective of games like WoW, over a normal, human one.
Thank you for the $5. Well, the problem with the Blizzard thing is that World of Warcraft has got private servers already. And as far as I understand it, even if Blizzard went kaput tomorrow, those private servers would still function, would they not? Or am I wrong about that? Like today, you could set up a private server for World of Warcraft that even if World of Warcraft shut down, you could still play. Right, so it's like, it can be done, clearly. And, you know, Activision Blizzard are hardly like, you know, the most consumer-friendly organization going. Do you know what I mean? You know, they're not exactly like known for their fucking, you know, wide respect for consumer rights. Like, they're cited as, you know, being one of the culprits in this EULA stuff, right? But even they, you know, even that, there's even with the facilitation of private software, private servers for their software. They got shut down. Oh, I Wrestle Weebs is, oh yeah, dude, I remember. Aren't you like a fucking hater of this initiative? The UK petition, oh, did they do it? That's awesome if so. It's showing as, oh, it's going to hit it. Yo! That's based. Let's hope it makes a difference, guys. Let's hope it makes a difference. Let's hope something happens. Let's hope something happens. I'm just a bit skeptical because I think they've already responded to the concept of it, and I don't know if something's going to happen. But at the very least, PirateSoftware got owned, so that's something.
We've been less than thrilled that Thor here has become the dominant voice of the campaign.
And I wouldn't have such a problem with that if the majority wasn't straight up misinformation and there wasn't such a conflict of interest. See, the initiative wishes to see that any game that requires purchase or subscription fees and a server connection to remain playable after a company shuts down their server. This self-evidently includes...
Oh, okay. They did shut a lot of them down. Okay, fair enough. They did shut a lot of them down when Classic Rock came out, but yeah, there's still some going. It's not that it can't be done. Blizzard was threatening lawsuits. Okay. Obviously... Right, okay, fair enough. So I'll take back the point about Blizzard facilitating it if they're not literally facilitating it. Fair enough, I was wrong about that, okay? So Blizzard don't want this to be happening. But the point is it can be done. And if Blizzard is at that point, I mean, if they're gone bankrupt, for example, which obviously is highly unlikely to happen, but if they go bankrupt, why would they? I mean, they wouldn't have they would not be an entity in order to facilitate taking down these private servers. A bankrupt company that is dissolved cannot file a lawsuit against someone. So the point is, it can be done, even if Blizzard don't like it. If they're dissolved, there's nothing they can do about it. And if they decide that they're not going to be, they relinquish their ability to monetize that product in some way, I don't see why they would really care about a private server running. So the point is not that like Blizzard are okay with it or facilitating it. I was wrong about that. I'll take the L on that. The point is that it can be done, and if a situation arose that they went bankrupt, then you could set up a private software, and there's literally nothing that could happen to stop that. And all it is saying is that, you know, it's putting in place some sort of formal, you know, requirement that a company has some sort of end-of-life plan if that's the case, right? Sure, yeah. But it's just thinking, you know, it's just thinking about the feasibility of something like this. And people are sort of naysayers acting like it's completely implausible, impossible, and it's a waste of time. And it's like, well, you know, obviously there are situations where this has arisen already, and there are solutions and there are resolutions to this that can be done. Yeah, okay. Because the thing to remember is, even if it goes into place, it's not applied retroactively. It would be to future games. So it would just prevent companies from just pulling support for something and it leaving them completely in the lurch if you bought a game. Yeah.
Includes live service games, which are games that continuously receive new content to keep higher player retention, multiplayer games, and amongst other categories, single player games who now often, because companies hate us, require a constant or with interval server connection as anti-piracy measure, which we call a DRM. Damn you, Hello Kitty Island Adventure! So when Thor started saying things like,
for those who don't understand, the Stop Killing Games initiatives.
Well, the way it's set up is that completely free games with no monetization wouldn't count as part of this because you've not paid money for it. But if there's a game that provides microtransactions, you've got like a financial interest in that game because you've paid money towards it. And therefore, you would need to have some sort of plan to leave it in a, you know, reasonably functional state because you've put money into it essentially, right? It's all about money changing hands from what I understand. So, yeah.
Is basically...
Guys, listen. The P. Diddy stuff is of some interest to me. I'll get to it, but I'm not going to skip to the P. Diddy stuff when this is the stuff that people want to see more, I'm afraid, okay? I will look at it a bit later. I will see, okay? Just relax. I'll get to it.
Don't want single-player games to have DRM that the developers can turn off and thus render the single-player games inactive anymore. This is what they want to change.
Or
it is vague. They need to be specific that they're talking about single-player games that do not need a server to support them.
Misrepresenting to his millions of viewers that the initiative's language was too vague, that actually they're only referring to single-player games with online DRM, which they aren't. That with this vague language, it would ruin live service games.
We'd have to sunset live service games as a single-player experience. The idea that suddenly you need to make every single live service game playable single-player offline? No, dude.
Correct. No.
Even though Stop Killing Games founder Ross Scott disproved that claim, PirateSoftware going as far as saying what the initiative is asking is so fucking stupid and outrageous.
Well, the thing is, it's like the multiplayer thing. It would just be like, I mean, obviously it's absurd to think about because, you know, I mean, most people are not going to be wanting to load up a fucking map just to walk around on. But even if it was just like, you can't force it so there's other people in the game. If there's no one else playing, then there's nothing you can do about that, is there? But having the ability to access it in some fashion, and then the idea would be you have some sort of setup where you play with your friends or something. I don't know, dude. Like, it's just creating this bizarre situation where he's acting like, oh yeah, if there's a multiplayer game, you'd have to make a single-player experience. You have to make it single player. When that was never being asked for. It's not like you need to take Apex Legends. Let's say Apex Legends went offline. At no point is it saying that you need to turn that into Titanfall 3, right? Or like Apex Legends Titanfall Edition, and you've got like a fully designed single-player experience that you play through. Just add bots. Well, you don't even have to add bots. I don't think that's not even a requirement. You know? But yeah, sure. You could obviously set it up that you can say, right, well, there you go. And then if people want to make bots for their fucking, like, mod it to make a bot or something, I mean, what does it matter, you know? Like, I don't know, dude. It's just, I think what PirateSoftware has done in some of his coverage is he's made it seem way more onerous than it truly is. And there's people that believe some of the things that PirateSoftware said about it. A lot of that stuff has been undone now, right? But the reality is that, like, much of it just isn't true. And a lot of the stuff he was saying is not what it's designed to do, or not ever what it's asking for, you know? And then it's this overcomplication of the process, which is why it's quite interesting now that you are seeing game devs come out and saying, well, hang on a minute, like, it's not as complicated as PirateSoftware's making it out to be. And obviously, you know, Soggy Cereal is one person, although I don't know what his development background is. But there's other developers that are now coming forward and saying, well, I actually think it's not that difficult to implement, and it's more straightforward than you're making it out to be, you know? You know, like, I mean, this isn't necessarily from PirateSoftware even, but, you know, people claiming that, like, companies would have to give it that IP and shit like that. And it's like, at no point is anyone saying you need to give your IP away. Oh, yeah, I now own Apex Legends. I'm going to make Apex Legends 2 and make loads of money off of it, even though, like, it's ridiculous, you know? And, yeah, I don't know. Just this obscene overcomplication of what it truly is in order to make it seem impossible.
It made him angry like a little tiny toddler.
That video made me actually mad. Like real mad. Not like fake memes mad, like actually mad. Like, I'm actually mad.
To the point he said he wasn't just not gonna back it, he was actively going to boycott this consumer right movement.
Not only do I not want to back this, I'm gonna actively tell people not to.
And so, people wonder why he'd do that? I mean, even Ross was interested in having a conversation about it and left a comment on
dude, I don't like this. I don't agree with it. I'm not going to support it. That's the end of it. Why are you actively trying to, like, stop people supporting it? What is the big negative if it gets 1 million signatures? It might not even end up in legislation anyway. And even if it does, that would involve industry people, stakeholders coming to the table and talking about these solutions too. So it's not like it's just going to be, right, the consumers want developers and publishers to get raped. We're now putting in place legislation that rapes publishers and developers. Of course, that's not how it would ever go anyway. Oh, we got some psychoanalysis. I think PirateSoftware suffers from oppositional defiant disorder. Would explain a lot of his behavior in the past if the reports of his performance while at Blizzard to be believed. What is oppositional defiant disorder exactly? But yeah. Yeah, most game devs are likely in support of at least making it so somebody can go in a game and run around the empty levels. It's their legacy after all. Yeah, I think people would want their work to be preserved as well, right? They'd want people to be able to access it, even if it was not the original intent because there's not other people online or it can't be done that way, you know? But yeah. The compulsion to do the opposite of what you're told. Right, okay. Possibly. I think PirateSoftware suffers from rape syndrome. Okay.
PirateSoftware's video to correct the misinformation he was spreading. His comment got deleted and the request for a conversation denied.
I reached out to him.
Would you consider reaching out and talking to Ross about it? No. And the reason why is because I found his entire statement over the YouTube incredibly disingenuous. It's used car salesman garbage.
Yes, Thor, Ross Scott, the average used car salesman who spends months to fight for consumer rights. For free. I've seen him say some dumb, pretentious shit, but knowing the initiative doesn't even take donations, its founder being on YouTube even before it was profitable and has been advocating against killing games for at least 6 years, makes this one of the dumbest. See, but Thor works as a strategy director at a publishing company called Off-Brand Games, and a publisher's goal is usually not to create or develop a product, but to make sure sales are as high as possible and that the product is profitable. Now, at the time the initiative launched, well, Rivals of Ether 2 was in development with...
Maybe he goes over this, but didn't Off-Brand Games... Yeah, Ludwig set it up or something, right? Didn't Off-Brand Games come out and say, like, oh, actually, we don't agree with PirateSoftware on this one? Ludwig probably in someone's ear, quick, There's public controversy. Come out and side. Come out and side with the bigger, louder voices now. Oh, it's against PirateSoftware. Yeah, PirateSoftware's wrong, guys. I'm sure there was some statement of people associated with Pirate that was like disavowing or saying they don't agree and think that preservation is important.
Off-brand games as its publisher. And Rivals of Aether is a live service game, so when Thor said this...
If we don't like the idea of live service games as a whole, I get it. It would impact every live service game that exists.
Well, people noticed he was acutely aware of the possible hurdles a game he's helping publish might face if regulation laws were introduced. So trying to entirely twist the initiative's message...
It is vague.
And kill it...
Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to.
And completely discredit Ross...
It's used car salesman garbage.
Could be seen as beneficial for him.
Oh yeah, don't forget as well, he's claimed that he didn't call him a used car salesman when he obviously did. There's another clip where he calls him he says greasy used car salesman. So he's another lie.
I am just trying to get this initiative passed. If that means I have to get insulted all along the way, okay.
This shit sucks. Eat my entire ass.
I'd recommend watching Ross's video if you want more details on just how far PirateSoftware went to boycott this entire thing. But what makes me angry most of all is firstly how after all this came to light, he still quadrupled down on most of what he said, even though he was...
He didn't call him a used car salesman. No, Cody, fucking the last remaining PirateSoftware cocksucker. You're wrong. You're totally wrong on this. Where's the clip? Where is the clip? You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong.
As a whole. Like, it's gross, dude. It's greasy as shit. And because of that, I don't want to talk to him. I'd be willing to talk to, like, Louis Rossman or anybody else about this because they'll actually have a conversation. But that shit shows me, like, the greasy used car salesman thing, where they're not actually trying to sell you a good product. They're just trying to sell you a product. And I hate people like that.
The greasy used car salesman shit, where they're trying to sell you a product, and I hate people like that. So, any response to that? Because that is him calling him a greasy used car salesman, without fucking question. Like, dude. Well, there we go. Don't question me next time, because I know way more about this than you do, you fucking retard.
Disproven multiple times. Then started banning and blocking anyone even slightly critiquing him. But also how he tried to guise it as being a selfless hero.
Because I don't want, and this is the real one, I don't want the government telling indies that they have to have their live service game stay online forever.
Now, to be fair to Cody, it's not often that people admit they're wrong. So fair play. Credit for that.
Wants that. But when you're talking about a legal setting to force people to do this, you're generally moving in that direction.
He just doesn't want indie developers experiencing legal trouble. Which is very ironic coming from the guy who, unbeknownst to most, threatened to sue a solo indie developer.
Hey, this is the thing, and this because if I didn't know about that clip, right, you could easily see how PirateSoftware's dishonesty can mislead people, because there is a clip where he could be interpreted as calling it used car salesman shit, and that is exactly what he referenced when he lied about it, when he responded to the criticism that he'd done that. But then there's obviously the other clip where he more explicitly calls him a greasy used car salesman. And so that's the, you know, that's the kind of dishonest weaving that PirateSoftware does. It's reliant sometimes on you not having all of the information in order to squirm away from, you know, having said certain things. That's the level of, like, liar that you're dealing with this guy.
We have to file a legal complaint against that dude earlier. We're going to take you to court. You're going to lose.
Maybe I should talk about
Yeah, dude, this, okay. So this here, this is the clip I was thinking of from that harmful video that I mentioned earlier, where it really should diminish any concerns about this guy apparently, you know, being bullied on the internet or being treated too harshly and stuff. Notwithstanding, obviously, actual death threats or whatever. Yeah, obviously bad. But, you know, he is a fucking crybully. He is there and he's seeing someone that he thinks is something he can just sweep into the tall grass, so he speaks like that about it, you know? And without Mario stepping in and offering that free representation, Private Parts would have just had to concede. And initially, Private Parts did concede, because Private Parts is just like a part-time game dev that does it for fun mainly, that's got like a regular job and a family. So he just, you know, he wanted to concede. Which is fair enough, I get it. Of course you're going to want to, like, you know, I've been in a similar position myself, and yeah, it's difficult when you got some fucking shitter that's got more money than sense that might take you to court for what you feel is an unreasonable thing. But like, there's not much you can do about it. You just got to kind of take it on the chin. Unfortunately, he had free representation, pro bono representation from Mario, which meant he was able to push back and then was able to secure, you know, well, in fact, I think that it's not just about like securing some level of concession. I think he ended up putting Pirate Software's voice in the game, I believe. I think there's still isn't there like an extra mode where you can actually get his voice or something? I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about that. Right, okay, there he is. Yeah. Oh, also, that's another thing as well. Dude, that's another thing I should probably say as well, dude. Not that it makes a difference.
But how do I make money off depressed people?
Hey!
Horses Unite 2ND became a member.
Thank you for the membership. Because my coverage would be exactly the same whether or not I'd gotten the key. Harmful did this, and I thought I should probably do that as well if I mention it. But I did get a free key. I did get a free key for Idle Stream Bonanza. But obviously, you know, it's not any sort of bribery. It's nothing untoward. It's just that he gave me a free key to the game. So I was involved in covering it. Okay. But my coverage is not determined by receiving that key. In fact, don't buy the game. It fucking sucks. Okay? Don't buy the game. It's shit. There we go. There's my fucking anti-shill. No, I'm just kidding. Do what you want. Do as you wish. Do as you wish with it, okay?
Threatened to sue a solo indie developer.
Hey, Kronos. We have to file a legal complaint against that dude earlier. We're going to take you to court. You're going to lose.
Maybe I should talk about that.
I mean, that is just fucking disgraceful. Totally disgraceful behavior. Seeing someone that he sees as a small person, he can just swipe away, and he just goes like that about it, knowing he's in the bigger position.
As many of you may know, a few months ago, a group of content creators formed a guild called OnlyFangs in World of Warcraft Classic Hardcore, a game where if you die on a character, you lose that character permanently. PirateSoftware was part of this guild, playing as a mage. Now, not only was he known for pretentiously mocking new players and bullying other mages in the guild, going as far as to say watching them play made him physically sick because obviously he's not like the other stinky noobs. He is best player out there, cause...
You know what I did before this? I worked at Blizzard Entertainment.
Okay, well at one point, when he and his teammates were streaming and got themselves in a dangerous situation,
Bart, why are you walking, bro?
Tried helping each other survive, while Thor, you know, the guy constantly boasting his hitherto undreamt of skills, ran away and said there was nothing he could do.
Pirate, why are you walking, bro?
What are you talking about? Why am I walking? Look at my mana.
Savageable. Come on, man.
Do you see my mana? What am I supposed to do for you?
Now, I'm not nearly unemployed enough to care about any of that. It's what happened afterwards that started showing his true character.
Dude, I'm still blown away. Dude, that sounds like a self-cocksuck, but it's not meant to be. I was like autistically watching videos about fucking World of Warcraft to better understand how retarded Pirate Software was. And I mean, I've not done. I kind of have, I guess, for Gaming for Hope, a bit, but not to the same level. I learned a bit about it. Yeah, very interesting. There were so many good content creators covering it as well. Who was the British guy? What's the British World of Warcraft guy? He covered it. I found that coverage very entertaining. What's the guy's name? Preacher Man. Preach. Is that his name? Preacher Man! Yo, Preacher Man, laying into Pirate Software, let's go! That was great coverage.
He was caught lying about his resources, actively wasting them while running away, so he could then claim that there was nothing he could do. And then when confronted, even though there was video proof,
blink.
he still lied about it, blamed everyone but himself, became extremely hostile towards anyone critiquing him
because they're goddamn insane. Because this guild has turned into a content guild built on hate. Because they're freaking monsters, dude.
Again, banning and blocking people left and right.
Yeah, it's so true. This is just, it's so iconic.
Content guild built on hate. Because they're freaking monsters.
There's something, I don't know what it is. There's something that's extra embarrassing about the fact that he's got this hat on, right? It adds an extra layer to how cringeworthy the whole drama was, because he sat there in this ridiculous, stupid wizard's hat as he's getting absolutely laid into for being a fucking loser, basically. Has anyone dug into his... dude. Dude. Second Life, Maldavius Fig Tree, 19, 17-year-old thing. What else? Dude, I feel like I've, you know... I'm always willing for more. If there's more Pirate Software stuff I haven't seen, like the MatPat stuff earlier, I'm keen, okay? But I do get concerned that it's getting drained.
Monsters, dude.
Again, banning and blocking people left and right. Even in debates with team members, he would make everyone respectfully listen to his side thoroughly. But then from the moment other members wanted to share their perspective, left the call like a little child.
Yell over another person
listen,
like you were
can
doing
I speak?
Nah, I'm good.
You...
See ya.
He eventually got kicked out of the Content Creator Guild, not because he made a mistake, no one really cared about that, but because just as with Stop Killing Games, he went in acting as a person with the most skill and authority, ended up shitting the bed, then kept lying to try save grace, and when exposed, acted like a fragile ego toddler getting reprimanded for sticking crayons up his nose, then angrily insisted
Dude,
the
what
adults
is this,
around
bro?
him put them
Dude, what is this bit here? Has he got... Is he on his knees, pretending to be a...
for sticking crayons up his nose, then angrily
Yeah, he's put his knees into his flip-flops there. That is commitment.
insisted the adults around him put them there. Anyways, getting to the lawsuit thread, at the time, an indie developer was working on a simple parody game ridiculing embarrassing streamer modes, such as a Pokimane for streamer cookies controversy, or XQC for being XQC.
A game that I got a key for. Gratis. Free. For no particular reason. Just because Private Parts felt bad for me because I was so bad at Gears that he decided to try and cheer me up, okay?
An uploaded recording of his game on Reddit, including PirateSoftware as a cockroach.
As much as you're angry right now, of course I ran.
Which, in the World of Warcraft community, refers to players desperately scurrying away instead of helping their team whenever danger is around. Now, up until that point, no streamer had made any issue of this game existing. And it definitely wasn't going to be the big supporter of indie game developers who desperately fought the evil consumer rights initiative Stop Killing Games to prevent indies from imaginary legal repercussions, right? He falsely DMCA'd the game, which is similar to copyright striking on YouTube, meaning it got taken off of the Steam game store. Why, you ask? Well, Thor would likely give an elaborate explanation about how using his voice from stream clips infringes on his copyright.
And said that he was using my voice in
money off depressed people.
Soggy is wrong here. The leader of the guild said Pirate was kicked from the guild because he was reporting other guild members and trying to take down their streams.
Oh, yeah, sorry, dude. Yeah, that is true. Very true. Thank you. Thank you very much for the very generous $10. Yeah, it was at the final. Yeah, I remember that, yeah. Yeah, because he was reporting people to Twitch, wasn't he? Because they were covering it. Dude, what a fucking loser, man.
A video game, showed a bunch of videos of it, and then put that game up on Steam. Cannot use somebody's likeness or voice in any way inside of your games without their permission.
Wrong!
He'd probably be correct.
Wrong! Incorrect. Wait, no!
Problem being that those voice lines weren't in the published game.
Hang on a second. Well, that's true. That part is true. It wasn't in the published game. But also, it's not even necessarily the case. Like, it's fair use. And there's fair use of copyright, of like using a snippet of a clip, which I think would be easily, clearly transformative and well within the realms of fair use. There's also another piece of legislation that talks about misappropriating of likeness or something like that. So, for example, right, I cannot, like, for example, I cannot take Brad Pitt and do an advert for Wheaties Flakes, okay, and go, hey, I'm Brad, do an AI voice like, hey, I'm Brad Pitt, and I eat Wheaties Flakes, right? So obviously, I would get in trouble for that, and highly unlikely that I'd be able to do that, right? But obviously, that's not what happened here. PirateSoftware's voice was not used to erroneously, you know, suggest he supports a particular game. He was taking like a snippet of a soundbite and using it in the game. And yes, it was used for promotion. But there is there's an argument there of like fair use under that legislation too. Like you can take snippets of people and use it in that fashion. Obviously, you know, I don't know the ins and outs of it. I'm not a lawyer, and Mario covered this at length, talked about it. But there are fair use defenses you can make in that situation too, like a parody or something like that, right? So even on the actual correct legislation, it's not a surefire thing that he definitely would be found in favour of, because private parts could have potentially claimed fair use for that piece of legislation too. But the problem is that private parts obviously is not in a position to, you know, pursue that or you know, go through the court system to establish that, you know. But yeah. In any case, I don't really think that you know, that there was any reasonable action, and even if you wanted to argue that he wanted to do something in regards to this like misappropriation of likeness shit, okay, it's literally nothing to do with DMCA. DMCA is purely for dealing with copyright infringement, nothing to do with like misappropriation of likeness or whatever the fuck the legislation is. So even if you had a claim under that, not only was the voice not in the game, so that was illegitimate, you can't use DMCA to take down something because they've misappropriated. You need to file a lawsuit for that particular piece of legislation. So on every single count, whichever way you view it, whichever way you analyze it, PirateSoftware is 100% in the wrong, because the Steam game doesn't contain the voice. So if you wanted to try and file a suit or a case under this thing of like appropriating his likeness, it would be the Reddit post that you would actually take issue with. Nothing to do with what's on Steam.
The developer just screen recorded on his own PC as a joke. So the developer reached out to Thor clarifying this and then asking if he could drop the false DMCA on his game. So obviously Thor did the most kind-hearted...
So, okay, the Kronos guy, so that is PirateSoftware's apparent lawyer, okay? Now, Kronos is, I believe, British, and there was some... I think he got doxxed, to be honest, which I disavow, of course. But people were kind of looking into him, and basically there was a kind of like discussion and discourse about whether he was actually what we would call like a solicitor, which is the UK equivalent more or less of a lawyer, put it simply, or whether he worked for something called Citizens Advice Bureau. Because Citizens Advice Bureau is essentially a free service that is provided in the UK for citizens to check and you know, like, for example, let's say the landlord's looking to evict you. You can't afford a solicitor. You go to Citizens Advice Bureau, and they'll like look at the details, and they'll tell you what's what with it. But some people that work there are solicitors, legal experts. Others are not. And so there was some commentary that suggested that maybe he's not even like a solicitor or meaningfully legally trained. It could be that he's like an advisor for the Citizens Advice Bureau thing. And that possibly he didn't, you know, he's not even in a position to advise on like UK law, let alone US law, because he could well be like a fucking admin person for this sort of organization. But in any case, you know, don't know how true that is. Obviously, I don't know this guy's background or anything like that. I literally know him as Kronos, the fucking PirateSoftware mod. But he absolutely, 100%, was speaking out of turn in regards to the American copyright stuff. And one big mistake that he made is that in the US, there is a legal precedent that you must reasonably consider fair use before you file a copyright claim. And this was off the back of that case where I think one of the big music studios took some woman to court because she had like a fucking random fucking clip that was distorted because it was on like an old microphone from years ago playing in the background of a fucking YouTube video. So they determined in America that you can't just like have someone play a snippet of a song in a YouTube video unrelated in the background and then take them to court for fucking copyright, because it's so unreasonable that that person is then expected to defend themselves when it would easily be found to be fair use, but they don't necessarily have the ability to defend that. So they put the onus on the company to go, well, hang on a minute, you actually need to check if it's fair use or not before you go ahead and file a DMCA. And that's beyond the fact that the fucking, you know, voice wasn't even in the game. So that Kronos guy in these communications with private parts was completely wrong on like multiple counts of the ins and outs of US law in regards to copyright. So, yeah. Anyway, very interesting. As you can tell, I was very interested in that story when it happened. But good to see there's more anti-pirate software stuff happening.
And sensible thing.
We're gonna take you to court. You're going to lose.
Jesus Christ. This legal abuse ended up pissing off an actual lawyer who then took the case to fight PirateSoftware's false claim free of charge. Which, there's an entire Substack with more details. I'll put it in the description if you're interested. But the situation basically ended as we're now used to, with Thor lying, doubling down, deflecting, and blocking any criticism until he finally dropped the DMCA. He lied about his EVE Online skills to make himself look better, deleting any comments debunking them. He lied about TV show Mr. Robot to go viral, again, deleting the comments questioning his claims. He abuses his huge audience to match
oh my god, it's the greatest hits. Obviously Soggy Cereal is trying to make a succinct video, but all of these dramas are so good. Yeah, the stuff about Mr. Robot was bullshit as well. What is this? PirateSoftware admits to deleting negative... This is my Discord. Negative comments in his comment section, but it seems there are so many that he's given up. He's also getting completely cooked in every single comment section of other videos mentioning him. Yup, we nuked everything not relevant to the video. People coming in and brigading over other shit. Jesus Christ, dude. I mean, to be fair, if it's a random video unrelated to the topic, I could understand not wanting a bunch of fucking random shitter comments there. But, I don't know, man. He's obviously getting a lot of heat. He's struggling under the pressure. Tragic.
He dislikes.
He began assaulting lobby caravans and threatening to get solo players banned who lashed out at him when he zerged their caravans with 40 players.
Oh, hey, wait, this guy's gonna get banned from the video game. I'm gonna report the shit out of this guy.
Tech, there's allegations with proof. He even fakes his voice to sound deeper.
It's our first time out here at Denver Comic-Con, and there's so many people, and they love the games.
This is complete garbage. All of this can eat shit.
Oh my god, dude.
He keeps lying to make himself look better. What are you, the Elon Musk of Twitch?
Okay, do you... who the fuck... Lettuce, you got... I don't know who fucking 1090 Jake is. Who the fuck is 1090 Jake, bro? I've got no idea who you're talking about. Who is that? Got no idea who it is.
Why does he think he can keep doing this? Why does he get to enforce his elitist thoughts as undisputed facts throughout the online game dev community?
I worked at Blizzard for 7 years.
Yes, we know, but that doesn't give you the right to...
I've been in the gaming industry for about 20 years. I used to work at Blizzard Entertainment.
I said we know. Although you never really were a game developer there, were you? See, he got into Blizzard through nepotism because his dad had an important role there.
My dad is the WoW guy from South Park. He was the cinematic director for Blizzard for 23 years.
And half his time there was spent as QA or test engineer, meaning he wasn't a game dev. No, he tested
Okay, come on, Soggy. Soggy Cereal! Hashtag tie the knot. Now! Dude, someone's got to tie the knot, dude. Someone must tie the knot.
Game developers made, and then the rest of his career there focused on cybersecurity. Again, not game development. They are two entirely different ways of working, and I can see that because for someone constantly critiquing others, his code, while potentially good in other roles, is fucking terrible for game development. That's probably the main reason his Kickstarter game is now so delayed. People are now...
I think furries are weird, but I don't judge someone's personal sex stuff. Up to you know what. Well, you know... Him being gay is like, whatever. Obviously, I'm not gonna, you know, be particularly concerned about that, because I don't personally care about someone being a homosexual. But his furry stuff obviously links to other shit. I mean, obviously, I'm being a bit facetious bringing it up. It's just kind of funny to me. Tied in a knot thing is a great meme, so well done whoever came up with that. But, yeah. And people are obviously going to be sensitive to not wanting to bring it into the stop killing game stuff, which I get. They want to keep a separation there. Fair enough. But I think it's funny. Actually, PirateSoftware being a borderline zoophile and fetishizing aspects of animal genitalia is totally fine and valid. Well, I wouldn't put it like that, but like, I do think that, you know, that is like a negative aspect of someone's like personality that often gets discussed in dramas and stuff, right? Like you get like zoophiles and shit get totally fucking eviscerated. And the thing is like, I don't know if Jason Thor is a full-blown zoophile necessarily, but it's quite troubling that he's got this message, which he apparently claims is faked, I believe, because he said that all those messages from Telegram were apparently fake, where he apparently speaks of having a fetish for knots. It's like just a relevant it's like a little kind of treat that you chuck in there at the end of a story, you know, if you want to go that way about it, right? Oh, and also, if that wasn't enough, check out this message, and you just show the message, you know? A little bit of treat zoophilia accusation, just to spice things up at the end.
Now asking for refunds. And I'm not saying that any of those jobs are less important than that of a game dev. I have friends in cybersecurity and I would not know how to do their job. Okay, and QA is crucial and often sadly looked down upon because frankly...
Mr. TA, my senior always tells me that we're still devs, but I always disagree out of principle. I fear it makes me sound like pirates.
Thank you for the super chats. Listen, Cody's fine, okay? Don't worry. Cody's a recovering PirateSoftware fan, so it's fine. Oh yeah, this. Oh yeah, dude, I know what this is. I know what this is already. This is classic.
Last night, Twitch decided that they wanted to delete our favorite emote on this channel. It's been in use since January 2022. It is an animated ferret butt. There is no butthole on it. There is no anything on it. It is just a blank ass. The only thing that they've told me is that it's disallowed content, imagery of sexual content or nudity. Twitch, if this is sexual content, if your moderation team thinks that this is sexual content, I think that says more about you than it does about me. I'm just saying, it's a little bit weird. Don't get too aroused, Twitch.
Whoa!
The ferrets turn you on so much.
Whoa! Bit of projection, methinks. What's he gonna do with that ferret after stream ends? That ferret could well be exploring a dark tunnel before you know it. Oh. I mean, look, at the end of the day, there's now these logs of him engaging in, you know, obvious weirdo furry roleplay shit. It's just like two puzzle pieces going together, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, nonetheless.
A lot of people in the game dev industry are elitist, which is why I made this video, because I hate the elitist rhetoric Thor spews. It brings me back to my time studying for my game dev bachelor's in university, where so many students would act kind, but then use bragging, lies, or insults to fabricate authority over you and make everyone around them feel inferior. Third years would degrade first years. Even teachers would support the idea of looking down on students studying in IT fields outside of game development. And I fucking hated it. It made me develop imposter syndrome. So I couldn't stand seeing a popular streamer normalize this behavior because it shouldn't be. It's already so common that my recruiter at Arrowhead Game Studios told me he screened me for it, because if they don't, they'll often recruit ego trippers like that, incapable of dealing with criticism, who are unable to function in a team setting so often that they gave them the nickname Brilliant Dicks. Because they act brilliant, but really they're just dicks.
That's awful, dude. No. Eat my entire ass.
Just know that if you were, like me, on the receiving end of such individuals and ended up feeling inferior because of it, try to ignore them and focus on proving them wrong. I didn't know jack shit about game development or programming at the start of my bachelor's, yet at the end, I ended up completing challenges that they couldn't, because instead of learning from the people around them, they were too busy sniffing their own farts. Can I confidently say that Thor is a confirmed narcissist? No, because I don't have a psychology degree to back it up. What I can say, however, is that while Thor might believe the delusion that he's some uniquely gifted genius deserving to look down on everyone around him, well, for me, he's just another brilliant dick.
I can see how easy it is to manipulate people emotionally.
Oh, he didn't tie the knots.
Money on the internet.
Yeah,
don't ever even want to get near that.
No! Tie the knots! You had the perfect opportunity at the end, Soggy! No, dude. No one wants to tie the knot. Who amongst us is brave enough to tie the knot? Now that was a great video. Anyway, I like Soggy Cereal. I'm a big fan of Soggy Cereal. Couple of details, couple of incorrect details there. Nothing too crazy, but you know. The main thrust was there, which I think is good. Yeah, important to have the main thrust. Okay, guys, I think I will probably do some more Pirate Software stuff, but I think we'll do it tomorrow. Because we've been doing it for quite a few hours today. Yeah, just, you know, worlds apart from the Upper Echelon video. Honestly amazed that Upper Echelon was happy with that video going out when it was so fucking wrong.